Hey everybody, this is Brian here. I hope you're having a great weekend so far. Tomorrow's Monday, back to work. Well, we're going to get right into it. A few days ago, there was a solar storms off the surface of the sun. These were X-class flares, one right after the other, and then a third one, which was a very high X-class flare. All of them three were X-class flares, and they hit our atmosphere. I think this was Wednesday of last week, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday of last week. The reason I'm bringing this up now, there's a lot of stuff on the internet that we were hacked, that AT&T got hacked and shut down cell service to millions and millions of its of users. So this is just my take on this, and I believe that those solar storms, which were extremely powerful, one of them was the most powerful in years, took out some of our communication. It took out maybe some of our cell towers, CB radios, things like that. And that, I think what happened, and I've on the other podcasts they've talked about this, that during that time that foreign entities used that time to attack us also cyberly and take out some of our internet, some of our cell phones. Folks, we're living in the last days. We're living in the last days, and things are happening so fast, it's hard to keep up. I wanted to wait a few days to do a podcast on this because so much is happening. The sun is acting up. Let's just get to it. The sun is acting up a lot. And the solar storms are increasing, and they're getting stronger and stronger. What is happening here? There's several things going on. There's an influence in our solar system that's influencing the sun to react. I've talked about this before. Another binary system is in our solar system that's pulling on the sun, which is causing it to react violently. This is going to increase it's going to increase substantially, in the next few weeks and few months. It's going to get worse. Then on the other side of this, you have entities on our planet where we live that are taking advantage of this solar activity in attacking us cyberly. Cyber attacks have increased substantially against the U.S. They're poking and prodding us to see how we would react. Well, when this solar activity happened last week, I think, and other podcasters I've noticed have said the same thing, that they took advantage of this to use the solar activity as a reason to attack us cyberly, blaming it on solar activity. So we're getting it from the sun, and we're getting it from humans against the U.S. I think we're being tested to see how we respond to this, and AT&T got hit extremely hard. Its service did, and America did not respond well. It took us a while to respond to this, and we didn't respond well. Our enemies are watching this. They're watching this. And so the U.S. is just not what it used to be, as secure as it used to be. So this is going on. At the same time, earthquakes have increased substantially. As you know, we've talked about this. I'm not a seismologist, but others are saying the same thing, that when the sun has activity like this, it enters our atmosphere, goes down into the ground, goes down into the earth, way down in the earth, comes back up through the fault lines as an electrical anomaly, which may be causing the earthquakes. I don't know for sure. I'm not an expert. But there's definitely an increase in solar activity correlated with earthquakes. Matthew 24, be earthquakes in various places. There'll be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. In Joel chapter 3, I think it is. We're in the last days, folks. We are totally in the last days. And I think we're in the last months of the last days. Every month, every day we get is a blessing from God. Every day. because soon we're going to be out of here, and we're going to be I believe in a pre-tribulation rapture, and we're going to be gone. We're going to be out of here. And the earth is going to be left to the worst 7 years of its history ever. Nothing like this will ever have happened since and will ever happen again during the tribulation. It says in scriptures that the earth will rock to and fro like a drunken man. The earth will literally wobble in its orbit off its axis during the 7 years because the things coming upon it. I don't know what else to say. Does it sound like an urgency in my voice? Yeah. What's urgency for? Get saved. If you don't know the Lord in your heart, ask Jesus in your heart, confess with your mouth, believe in your heart, you shall be saved. Jesus died, buried, and rose again on the third day. And if your folks are out there listening, watching this, you don't know Jesus in your heart, do it. There's not much time left. He died for you. His blood was shed for you. He's done everything. He's given us. All we just have to do is believe by faith that it happened and believe it for us. Tell him you're a sinner. He already knows this. And ask him to come into your heart and be your Savior and be your Lord. Because the time is short. And believers out there, I'm talking to you. We're about to go home. And I know the attacks are probably increasing in your life. Things are coming out of the woodwork against you. I get it. I'm there with you. But he who is in us is greater than he who's in the world. And this world has been influenced by a dark force. Dark forces. But it doesn't matter how dark it is. We are children of the light. Children not of darkness. And he's about to return, folks. He's about to return. I'm going a little off kilter here because I just feel an urgency in my heart to tell you this stuff, because just what's going on. And let me read this article here about the sun. Powerful twin solar flares erupt from the sun as cell phone outages spike across the U.S. 2 outbursts from the sun occurred as widespread cell phone outages were reported throughout the United States on Thursday. 2 powerful solar flares erupted from the sun on the evening of Wednesday and during the early morning of Thursday. An X 1.8 class flare occurred at 6:07 p.m. Eastern Time on February 21st. Another one, an X.17 class flare, erupted at about 1:32 a.m. on February 22nd. The flares erupted from a region of the sun that continues to exhibit strong magnetic complexity. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, wrote in a statement about the events. So, we don't see this stuff. Our magnetic field protects us from a lot of it, but it does affect us. And there was a Carrington event in 1859, I think it was, that was at X point, I can't remember. Those were X 1.7s. These were X like 15s, 16s, 18s. The one in the Carrington event. It was, nothing has happened that we recorded since that time. It set fields on fire in the Midwest. It knocked out the telegraph at that time. Can you imagine if that happened now? Wow. It's coming. It says in the book of Revelation that men will be scorched with heat from the sun. So it's going to happen, but we're not going to be here for those. I'm telling you this, that this is a sign, these flares, these outages, man-made or by the sun, are signs from God that we are about to be raptured. We are about to be raptured. What can I say? We're about to be taken home. Is it today? It could be. But it's not much longer. I mean, God is sending us so many signs, it's ridiculous. There's no excuse for a believer who's looking for this not to know that we are the generation. There's no excuse. You know, and we are about out of here. And the sun's going to act up. Earthquake activity is going to act up. I would say to everyone listening and watching, you thinking where you live, you're safe from an earthquake? No, you're not. We're in the last days. Stock up on food. Have at least a month's worth supply of food and water. Make sure your car's gassed up. You got bug out bags in your car. Not because of unrest socially, which could happen, but because the physical events that are coming. This binary system is getting closer and closer. It's going to wreak havoc on the earth. We're not going to see the worst of it, but we're going to see the beginnings of it. Jesus said, when you see the beginnings of these signs, lift up, your redemption draws nigh. Do we see the beginning of the signs of the tribulation? Every single day. Every single day. It's there. Let me read one passage and then I'm done. Let's see here if I can find it. Just popped in my head to do this. I read this morning. It is in the New Testament. It nails it down, right? It's Colossians chapter 3. I think this is the one. This is how we're to be thinking in the last days. This is how believers should have a mindset in the last days. And I'll leave you with this. Colossians 3, verse 1. Starting at verse 1. If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on the things that are above, not on the things on the earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also appear with him in glory. Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you: sexual immorality, impurity, passions, evil desires, and covetousness, which is idolatry. On account of these things, the wrath of God is coming. In these you too once walked when you were living in them, but now you must put them all away: anger, wrath, malice, slander, obscene talk from your mouth. Do not lie to one another, seeing that you have put off the old self with its practices, and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge after the image of the Creator. Here there is no Greek and Jew, circumcised, uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave, free, but Christ is all and in all. Put on the new self. Satan's throwing everything at you, isn't he? Your flesh is attacking you every day. It's hard. You got to shake it off. That's not who you really are, folks. That's not who you are. You're not that. I'm not that. That's not what we are. We have been raised with Christ and seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated in the right hand of God. Set your mind on the things above, not on the things of the earth. That's what he wants us to do. Focus on those things, on the things that you can't see. Heaven, the Lord God. Your redemption is drawing nigh, folks. Jesus is about to return. Maybe today. I'll see you in the clouds. This is Brian out. Bye-bye.